98% of mid-market CEOs believe AI will improve their business, but only 33% are actually using it. And that's not a statistic, that's a gap. And it's the most expensive gap in businesses right now. I've sat across from enough of these CEOs to know exactly where the gap lives. And it's not where most people think. In this video, I'm going to break down what's actually keeping companies stuck in that gap and the one thing that closes it. And it's not a tool and it's not a budget either. It's also not a new hire. So why does this gap exist? 98% believe in AI while only 33% use it. What's happening in between? See, most people assume it's a knowledge gap, that they don't understand AI well enough. But that's not the reason. These are smart people. They run 10, 20, 50 million companies. They understand AI just fine. Some people think it's a budget gap. It's not that either. 93% of mid-market leaders work at companies actively investing in AI. The money is there, so they believe it'll help. They have the budget, and still only a third are doing anything with it. And here's what's actually going on. Most mid-market companies right now are stuck in what I call pilot purgatory. They ran a small experiment. It kind of worked, kind of didn't. Nobody set success criteria before they even started. So now there is a pilot that's technically running, but nobody can say if it's actually worth scaling or not. And instead of making a call, kill it or scale it, they just kind of leave it there. Because killing it feels like admitting failure. And scaling it feels risky when you can't even prove that it works in the first place. So what happens? It just sits, generating status updates that say progress is being made, and nobody in the room believes them. That's pilot purgatory. And most mid-market companies are sitting in it right now. Not behind on AI, not ahead on AI. They're just stuck in that bubble with a tool that's technically live and an ROI that's technically TBD. The research calls it the middle maturity trap. Companies achieve activity but not delivery. They are doing stuff, they just can't tell you if the stuff is working. And here is what makes the mid-market version especially painful. The Fortune 500 company can run 30 pilots. They can expect most of them to fail and still find winners through sheer volume. Why? Because they have the budget to be wrong 27 times. What happens to a mid-market CEO? They don't. A mid-market company running 10 to 100 million, every dollar counts. Every project counts. You can't just run 10 experiments and hope that 3 of them work. You can't throw 200,000 at a platform and call it learning. You get one shot, maybe 2. And that shot has to be scope tight, attached to a specific number, with a 90-day timeline that tells you whether it's working or not. But see, that requires something most companies don't even have in the first place. And it's not the budget, it's not the talent, and it's not a better tool. You know what it's called? It's called clarity about their own operations. Which processes cost the most? Which ones depend on one person? Which ones are consistent enough to automate, and which ones need process work first? What does break-even look like before a dollar gets spent? Nobody sat down and created an ROI model. That's the gap. Not the knowledge, not the budget, not even the interest from your team. It's pure operational clarity. I was at a founders dinner last month. 2 CEOs, similar companies, similar industry. One of them says, "We're doing incredible things with AI." The other one just smiled and sort of was shaking his head and asked, "What specifically are you doing with AI?" And the first CEO says, "We're using it all across our business." So the second one clearly is going to ask you, like where though? You know what happened? The first one completely changed the subject. The CEO who asked the questions, he basically drove back home thinking they're already behind. He's not behind. The other guy changed the subject because they don't even have any details. He bought a tool, his team is probably using it at 15%. He doesn't know the ROI either. He just knows it sounds good at dinners. And here is what nobody will tell you. Nobody is as far ahead as they sound. Some companies just did one thing differently. They looked at their own operations honestly before they bought anything. And that gave them enough clarity to make one smart bet instead of 5 confused ones. That's not an AI advantage. That's a clarity advantage. And clarity does not cost you $200,000. It just costs you 4 weeks of your time. See, 98% believe the technology is real, but only 33% are using it because most companies have never looked at their own operations with enough specificity to know where to start. The gap between believing AI will help and actually using it isn't closed by a better AI tool or platform, or a bigger budget, or a persuasive vendor, or a head of your new AI hire. It's closed by a roadmap, an honest map of how your company actually runs, not the board deck, the real version with the real costs attached, real dependencies identified, real priorities scored in a manner that actually makes sense. Once that map exists, the CEO who's been stuck for 6 months suddenly knows exactly what to do first, not because AI just got easier for them, but because their own company operations got clearer to them, right? Without the map, they stay stuck in pilot purgatory, believing AI matters, but unable to prove it to anybody. With the map, they can move, and they can move faster because the guessing part is over. That 65% gap between believing and doing, it's not a technology gap. It's purely a clarity gap. And the ironic thing is, the companies sitting in that gap, they don't need another conference. They don't need another vendor demo. They need to look at their own company honestly for the first time. And that's it. That's what closes the gap every single time. And if that sounds like your company right now, believing in AI, but still stuck in where to use it, that's the most common place to be. And I'm going to tell you, you're not behind. You're in that gap. And closing that gap is simpler than you think. And it starts with one honest look at your own operations, not the board deck version, the real one, how things happen on a Tuesday morning. And if you want help drawing that map, I do a focused discovery session where we figure out your top 2 or 3 opportunities together. Comment start below and I'll send you a prioritization framework that we use to close that gap in week 1. In my next video, I'm showing you exactly how to present AI to your board in a way that builds confidence instead of creating more questions. And I want you to watch that one the night before the board meeting. I'll see you there.